guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be how to write a statement of purpose for your graduate admissions. Now, I wrote my graduate statement last year before getting admitted to LSE. I just wanted to share my experience and you guys have been asking about this video for so long. But before starting off, I'd like you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell and also check out the playlist which I have for study abroad. It's linked right over here. You can go and check it out. Without further ado, let's get started with this video. So firstly, let's understand the difference between a personal statement versus a statement of purpose or academic statement. A personal statement includes your motivations and interests, speaking more to who you are as a person. Meanwhile, a statement of purpose focuses on why you want to study in the program that you're applying for and what are your academic abilities. A personal statement is something in which you have to show yourself as a human being and what are your personalities. A statement of purpose is something where you have to demonstrate your academic abilities to show them that you're suitable for that specific program. So a personal statement is something more of a storytelling where you tell your past experiences and how you've learned from them, whereas a statement of purpose solely focuses on what are you doing with your career, how has your past academic life impacted your current academic life, and how will that impact your future academic life or your career prospects. So it has to do everything with your professional life, but you can also sort of connect the dots with your personal experiences and how you've learned from them and developed from them as a professional rather than as a human being. The video is divided into 3 main sections as well as some separate sections, so it's very important that you watch each and every one of them because I'm going to share some very insightful tips with you guys. Section number 1 is establishing purpose and clarity. First thing that you want to do in your statement of purpose is give it a good structure, brainstorm, and give it a title. This statement should have a clear purpose. What is the purpose that you want to go and study that specific program in that specific university? For that, you need to do a deep research, and before you're writing your academic statement, what you need to do is you need to brainstorm everything. So I'm going to share a tool with you which will help you in structuring your statement of purpose and help you write excellent essays and notes in the future. This tool is called Skrintl. Skrintl is a digital canvas which transforms your creative ideas into structured knowledge, so it's perfect for writing statement of purposes. Now what you need to do is you need to go to skrintl.com, and I've already created my account. You can register yours. It's very simple to do. You just have to choose what you're doing in your career and what you want from Skrintl. It's very easy to sign up. Once you've done that, you are in your home page. So once you're on skrintl.com, you have to click on My Desk. Once you're on there, you see a plus button. Now it has multiple elements from cards, board, daily cards, text, columns, web links. So firstly, I'll go to board, and this is great for brainstorming. So what I'll do is I'll just write statement of purpose or the title. Now you can go for any title you want, but I personally gave my statement of purpose the title letter of motivation. It could be anything. Writing that, what I'll do is I'll divide my statement of purpose into 3 main categories. First is introduction. Now the best part is that you can actually link all of these cards, so it is like sort of a brainstorm where I'm writing letter of motivation, then I'm connecting it to all of the dots and all of the points that I have. You can customize it according to however you wish, so it's totally personalizable. After writing introduction, I'll write the main body, and then I'll also connect this a third one which will be the conclusion. And you can also choose from resources that you want. You don't necessarily have to cite everything, but it's always a good idea to choose from different resources, so you can always go back and look at them. You can structure it however you want on Skrintl again, and you can even insert links. So I've written these 4 things, and then I'm going to just structure it like this, so it's a bit easier for me to work on. And then you can just start brainstorming your ideas. So for introduction, you can include the things that you want. You can just double click on it, it'll open up like a pop-up, and then you can even insert bullet points. So I'll just go this, and I've inserted like a bullet point. I'll cover all the things which I need to do. So I usually begin my statement of purpose with an anecdote. That's what I did for mine, but you can do something separate. So whatever you need to write in your introduction goes in here. It doesn't have to be very solid. It just has to be like a brainstorm session. So for example, I've written my anecdote, and what else do I need to write? If I want to write any quotes, I can write it over here that it needs to be on here. And for the main body, this has to include, for example, your achievements. So I'll simply say achievements. And then what were your personal challenges? This is something which I have like learned, which you have to write about. If you had any professional challenges or even any personal challenges which you overcame, you have to mention that. What are your beliefs and professional goals, and why the program is right for you? So why, how, and when. And then for the conclusion, you have to do like a CTA, which is basically like a call to action. So like think of a statement of purpose as a pitch which you're doing. So it's a great way to always conclude by giving like a CTA. And then why are you a great fit for the university? Again, summarize it all up. So summarizing everything, this is what goes in the conclusion, and within the resources you can include any of the resources that you have. How you can do that is just by going to the plus sign, and then you have lots of things which you can actually do. Upload an image, upload a PDF, anything which you came up with could go here. Just go for like a sample PDF which I found online, put it in here. So I have that. So I have all of the brainstorming in one specific session, and you can even like color code it according to how you want to make it like visually appealing. If you want to color code it, you just have to click here and then change color, and you can select the color that you want. For example, I put the introduction as pink, and then I can change the color of the main body to green, and then maybe the conclusion I can make it yellow. Using Skrindle helps me stay organized whenever I'm drafting an essay or taking notes for class, because it's always just jumbled up everywhere, and this helps me put all of the things at one place, and then I can just go to the website and check everything for myself, color code it according to different courses that I'm taking. It's a very efficient way, and as a student, like especially as a grad student, you need to stay organized and you need to stay on top of things. So if you want to sign up for Skrindle, then you can use my code SAM10 and it offers you a 10% discount. I'll link it in the description so you can go and check it out. So the next thing that you should do is be very clear that why are you applying to that specific program. Now what you can do here is list out all of the courses that you're taking. Not all of them, like at least I wanted to take, for example, one of them. I listed that specific one out and connect it to your story. So for example, I wrote that I am interested in this specific module called representations because I would like to be represented in a certain way in media, and I want to do a little bit more research on it. At least mentioning like one or two of them definitely helps the admissions committee see that you have done your research and why are you taking this module. And the second thing is also looking at the professors who are teaching. So for example, there's this one very famous teacher in a department, so many people write about him and why they would like to study from that specific teacher because they've already like read his research, which is super cool. So you can write something like that. I did something similar. I actually like read one of my professor's book and I was like, this is such a cool book and I would definitely like to do some more research on this specific work. This tip is so important. I think like it's very general, but people miss out on it anyways. It's just not to list out everything you have on your CV onto your statement of purpose because these two are like separate documents. You already have your CV, and what you can do is you can take one of the things from your CV, one or two things, and you can expand on that, but do not necessarily copy every single thing from your CV onto your statement of purpose because they want to know you and what you want to do in your academic life and as like a professional ahead in your career rather than listing just everything out. So like CV is a separate document. They will look at your CV and they'll also look at your essay. So what I did personally was I mentioned I worked with UNICEF India, and I mentioned that in my CV, and I expanded that on my academic statement, expanded on what I learned while doing there and how it helped me develop as a professional in media. Everything has to be connected to your subject. If you're studying history, you somehow have to connect it to history. If you're studying mathematics, you somehow have to connect to mathematics. Everything needs to be connected to the subject that you're studying, no matter if it's like remotely not even near it. If you like were a journalist and if you're doing mathematics now, how does that connect, right? You must be like, this is so different. But I just like this is just a hypothetical example. What you can do is, for example, when you were a journalist, you had to do some analytical work. You can mention that, how it will help you in like studying mathematics, you know. Just connect the dots. You don't necessarily have to be directly connected, but you can learn the skills that you learn in that specific career or like module and how that will connect to your current career prospect. So with the clear structure, you should always adopt a very formal and academic tone. So don't be very frank and do not try to be funny, because I've like read some personal statement where people are like pretending to be very funny, and to be honest, it comes off as very unprofessional. Also, like, maintain a positive tone. You do not want to sound very negative when you're writing your statement of purpose. You want to sound as a confident person. So like, I know some people will be like, oh, I don't want to over express myself because it'll come off as like a standoffish tone, but not necessarily. You just have to adapt the right tone. So for that reason, the next step is very important. It should be grammatically correct, and connecting to that is the next point, which is always proofread. This is super important because once you've written your statement, everything looks all right, but if you do not read it, there could be so many things which are wrong with it. I created like 5 drafts before I published my final statement of purpose, and I had like teachers read it, I had my friends read it, I had some of my cousins read it. So if other people read it, they can see how it comes off as, whereas if you were just writing it and submitting it as your own, you might not see what is the tone that you are adapting. You might see it as like a confident tone, when in real life it's coming as very standoffish tone. You get it, right? Section number 2, it is tailoring to the institution and also proposing your future goals. When I say tailoring to the institution, I mean is specifying every single thing you like about that specific course within that specific institution. Now I know what people do is they write like a general statement. For example, if I want to study media and communications, I wrote one statement of purpose for media and communication. I submitted to all the universities that I wanted to apply to. You're not really tailoring according to the institute, you're just sending out general statements, which is something that the institutes do not like to see, because they want a student who is actually committed to them and who wants to study there. Research your institute very well. What you can do is you can go to the website, blogs, student blogs, or you can go and watch some YouTube videos. Knew that LSE had like a beekeeping society, which is something I was like really excited about, so I wrote about that in my academic statement. I found out that they had a beekeeping society through one of their YouTube videos. So following your institution that you want to go to on social media platforms is something which I would suggest, because they keep updating you. When I was in Delhi, I attended this event that LSE conducted, and that was a really good chance to ask your questions directly, getting to learn some new things. So when I attended that event, I actually learned a couple of things which I also mentioned in my essay. So I learned that LSE has the biggest social science library in all of Europe, which is something that I mentioned that's like a fact. And when the admissions committee is reading that, they would know I've done my research, because like, yeah, how would I know that, right? I knew that because I attended that event. So it's very important that you do that. Also, you can mention like why that specific university, that other universities also offering the same course. For example, they have like great disability services, or they have like a good library, or there's like multiculturalism, there's international students, so you would be able to like connect with different people and contribute to the community. So at the end, it all comes down to how you are contributing to their university. And I mentioned that you need to mention why that specific university, not be very generic like LSE ranks top 50 institutions in the world, that's why I want to go there. It's very general, do not write that, no one wants to listen to it. Do not just list out your accomplishments. Hey, when I was in university in my undergrad, I did this X specific thing, I participated in this competition and won. You did that, but they need the evidence. You just cannot write generic statements. There needs to be evidence backing it up, and you also need to write what you learned from it. For example, I volunteered with United Nations, so I just did not write that I volunteered for UNDP when I was in second year of my college. No, I did not write that. I wrote that I worked with UNDP, and what that did was like, it was very international. So I was working with people from all across the globe. There were like 5 other volunteers, helped me learn from an international perspective. I was able to work with such an international crowd, and I was able to contribute to the community, and then connect it to how I would currently contribute to this specific university, because I've had such an experience of working in an international environment and hearing other perspectives and seeing things from their point of view. I mentioned that in my statement. It needs to be evidence, and you need to connect all of the evidence to how you will currently contribute to your university that you're applying to. Then you also need to mention about your future goals. So you need to mention, after completing this degree, how will it help you with your career? So for example, I wrote, I want to be a media specialist, so getting a degree in media and communication would help my chances in becoming a media specialist, or getting this X job at like maybe United Nations or something. They do not want very specific things when it comes to future, because like you cannot be very certain about your future anyways, but they just want to see that you have something in mind, you're ambitious, they want to know that, right? You also need to mention your background in your undergrad. I wrote this specific statement. I'm actually reading it out for the first time. I did not think I would do that. During my undergraduate studies, I was able to comprehend how economic advances take place and the function of media and marketing to reach a large audience. My prior academic knowledge in the field of economics will help me in the module, and then I specify the specific module in which it will help, which, by the way, I applied for this module. I did not get accepted into it because it was already booked. So that's funny, which I plan to opt for. I'm connecting my previous background experience into how it will help me currently in taking the module that I'm choosing. Section number 3, it is about relevance and weaknesses. So this is about how relevant is that thing right now. If you did something, if you achieved something in grade 10, great, you did something great. But is that really relevant currently? Is it really relevant in your postgraduate studies? No. So do not mention anything prior to your undergraduate degree if it's not relevant. For example, if you did something big, you started a company when you were in grade 10, definitely mention that. If you won a debate competition in grade 7, grade 8, grade 10, grade 12, no one wants to know that, okay? That does not really contribute to what you did in your undergrad. Then avoid technical jargons and abbreviations, which is basically using some technical terms which the people reading your statement might not understand. Remember, it's not always the people who are teaching you reading your admission statements as well. Those are like different people from like different admissions committee. Use very standard English. Do not use very technical words. And then if you have any inconsistencies, you also need to mention that within your statement of purpose. It's a very good chance for you to do that. For instance, during my second year in my undergrad, I was very sick, and due to that reason I missed out on classes. I wasn't able to score that well, and my overall like extracurricular achievements were also sort of going down. Not necessarily, but yeah, they were sort of going down. So I mentioned that about the like brief period where I had some trouble. If you had some inconsistencies, if you had a career break, for example, if you took a gap year, you can mention about that, what you did within that gap year and why you took a gap year. And when you're writing an academic statement, also mention about your weaknesses. You're an overachiever. I can do anything in this world. Of course you can. Of course you can. I'm not saying you can't. But you need to also address your weaknesses, because every single human being has strengths as well as weaknesses. Everyone has some weakness. But to avoid, this is also super important, avoid any cliches. I have always loved reading novels. This is a cliche statement. Avoid it at all costs. One cliche statement which is so overused is I've always dreamed of doing this since I was a child. Whatever happens, do not write that statement. It's so overused and people hate it. People hate reading it. I know it is your dream to become a doctor. I agree with you. And I hope that you will become a doctor, but just do not write about it. It was my dream as a child to become a doctor, because it's very overused and no one wants to hear about it, sadly. And then before heading off, I'd like to also give you tips about drafting the personal statement. Now I'll present it on the screen right here. You can take a screenshot of it, and this is a very important thing on how you can go about with your personal statement. I actually found this from one of the Ivy League institutes. Maybe it was from MIT, I can't remember, but it's like a really good draft essay which you can take inspiration from. I'll also link like few documents in the description, so I'd say you can also check them out. There are like few sample essays from MIT which you can check out, and it really explains what you should and should not do. That is all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope it was very insightful. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. My Instagram for education is called Sam Study Station. You should also follow me on there because I post brilliant tips and websites which will help you out, so you should follow that. And my personal Instagram is called Samriddhi. You can follow that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and comment below what other videos do you would like to see on this channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video now. Bye.